Let me go to one very interesting call, and I don't have an awful lot of time on this, which is unfortunate, really. But, Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy.
Good to... sorry, Michael, are you on a speakerphone there?
I'm actually on an earpiece, which is as clear now as I can get where I am.
All right, well, listen, it's okay. The children's referendum is on Saturday. You've listened, I'm sure, to some of the debates that have been going on, but you wanted to make reference to your own situation where you have... Is it a daughter or a son?
A daughter.
Okay, explain.
I don't have a problem with the children's referendum. My problem with the children's referendum is it's not so much a problem, it's a fear on the case of what happened to me and my partner with our daughter. Our daughter has a condition, well, they presume it's a condition she's been tested for at the minute, where she has brittle bones and she has breaks. She's had 4 breaks in 2 years. And the first break she had, she was in... I need to give you a little bit of a history on this to explain where I'm coming from.
That's fine.
She went to the hospital. She had a fall. Doctor referred her to the hospital. She had an X-ray. They sent her home, said there was nothing wrong with her. 3 days later, they rang us again and said, come back, your daughter's arm is broken. So, naturally, we were very upset by that, and we were not at all happy. We wrote a letter of complaint to the hospital in question, giving out and saying that the level of care sending a child home who was under 2 with a broken arm for 3 days wasn't acceptable. 6 months later, she had a trip again in her room. She fell off her toy box, and she broke her other arm.
What age now are we talking about?
The child under 2.
Under 2, right? Okay.
Yeah. At this stage, and the last break, she was 2. Again, we went to the hospital. This time they recognised that she had a break. She had a procedure done where she had a pen put on her elbow. She had a fairly severe shatter. So, again, she was sent away. Third time again, it was probably 6 to 8 months later again, she had a fall where she tripped on a piece of Lego. And at this stage, we were getting very concerned. We said to the hospital, look, something has to be seriously wrong. No fall she's had has been any greater than maybe 12 inches to 18 inches. The toy box probably was 2 feet at the most. And, these are severe breaks for minor little trips and falls. And again, she went in, she had an X-ray. She was sent home, told there was nothing wrong. And on this occasion, 5 days later, we were called back and told, come back, your daughter's arm is broken. And at this stage, we were fuming. But on the last occasion, then, just to move on, there was a lot of things happened between that and that. The next occasion she came in again, she had a break in the same spot. And when we went to the hospital, on this occasion, she was taken straight away. She was said that there was a break. She was put into the ward. She was into the children's ward. My partner was with her. I went that evening to see how things were going. I went in. My partner was there, very upset, very visibly upset. And we were told that we were not allowed to take our daughter out of the hospital. And we said, why? At this stage, I didn't want her in this particular hospital. I wanted to move her to the Galway Clinic in Galway to have her looked at because I felt there was nothing being done for her. And we were told that there was reason to believe that we had been hurting her. Sorry, excuse me, which was totally outrageous. I mean, we understand that there's procedures have to be done and things have to be done, and forms have to go through. So we asked to speak to people who were in charge and who were making these decisions, and nobody, the faceless state came to being. Nobody would talk to us, nobody would look at us. My partner and my daughter were put into a room beside where the nurse's station was so they could be observed and watched. I wasn't allowed to be in. We weren't allowed to take her home. We were told that if we tried to take her home, that the guards would be called. Again, for my part, I said, look, we've wrote to you, we've asked you for help, we've told you these things are happening, we've asked you for help. The letter that we wrote mysteriously disappeared. The fact that I had kept a copy of it helped, and then it reappeared again the next day. Oh yes, there is a letter there, but that doesn't do from the fact that we actually feel there's something happening in the home. We were reported to social services, and we were told that we were not allowed to leave the hospital. So after a few days of being there, we said for the weekend, could we take our child home? And we were told no. And we pleaded with the paediatrician. We said to them, look, this is crazy. There's no way we've hurt our daughter, no way whatsoever. My partner was in the hospital. She spent 3 nights, Tommy, where she never slept a wink. She was afraid to go to sleep because she thought they'd come and take her away. It was torture on my family, her family, and everybody. And the worst torture was We were being accused of these things, and nobody would speak to us. Nobody would talk to us. Nobody came to say, look, guys, there's procedures that have to be done. Are you okay? Are you holding up all right? I had to work every day. I had to go deal with the public. I deal with the hospitals on a daily basis. I do transport for them. I had to go and do that every day under the pressure and the stress of it and everything else, and looking at our daughter being basically held prisoner in a hospital and us being accused of having hurt her. In the end, we had to go to solicitors and say to them, look, this is getting out of hand. The solicitors wrote to the hospital, and the hospital then said, okay, you can take her home for the weekend, but not both of you. You can only take her home to her grandparents' house or her aunt's house, but you can't take her home to your own home. After going on for a number of weeks, then social services wrote to us, or the paediatricians actually came and met us in the end, and they said, okay, look, we don't believe that you have been hurting her. There's a possibility that she may have a condition. But where all of this stems from with me is we went through torture. The state, with a blank face, moved in and basically told us they could take our child from us. And not just that child, but our other children with her. With nobody to talk to us, nobody to look at us, nobody to ask questions of, nobody to answer anything that we wanted to know, and nobody gave a damn whether we were holding up, we weren't holding up, whether we were having a nervous breakdown, as any parent would. Nobody wanted to know. And this is my fear for this referendum, and it's not the referendum itself. I mean, as the two people before there said, everybody has goodwill to this, but we seriously need to reform the departments that are handling these things before we give more power to the state. As far as I'm concerned in this thing, we're going back 50 years, not forward. We're giving people power again to come in and take the place of parents. And I mean, if you give people that blanket power to do what they nearly did to us, and I mean, we would never harm a hair on our child's head. I mean, my partner, as I said to you, she didn't sleep for days on end, and the fear that while she'd be asleep. Now, I know it's an extreme, but that's how she felt in the tiredness, and as the days went on and the less sleep she got, she feared that they would come in during the night and take our child away and we wouldn't see her again. And I mean, when you try to do everything right, these are the things that happen. And as it was said there early on, you go down through the years in this state and go down through the child abuse and go down through the wrongs that were done. The wrongs that were done in the care of that we entrusted the state to put. We didn't entrust them; it was thrust upon us that they could come in and take children away. And yes, there are children there that are suffering abuse. There are children that need protecting. There are, but we seriously need to reform the departments that handle that, so that people don't go through what we went through.
Okay. How long ago is this?
This is only into last year and the beginning of this year.
Right.
It was into last year, but I mean, Tommy, I wouldn't wish on anybody what we went through.
Okay.
I mean, we went through not just us, but our families, my children's grandparents, the torture and the trauma that you go through, and you have nobody. There's no face. Everybody just tells you the decision's made. There's no face. There's nobody there to talk to you. Nobody looks at you. Nobody wants to speak to you. You ask, I say, when I was at it, I said, I want to see these people. I want to know who's saying these things. I want to see the person who's telling me I can't take my child home. And there is nobody. There's no face there because nobody wants to talk to you.
Okay. Michael, I'm way over time, but a remarkable call. By any stretch of the imagination. Thanks for sharing it with us. I think we'll be getting back to this topic on tomorrow morning's programme, but I'm really sorry the clock has beaten us. But thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
That's Michael on the line there, so lots of